Ladies and creatures, gentlemen, or what is it? Creatures and ladies. I don't remember the new thing I'm supposed to be saying to get people riled up. But this is another episode of the Wrestling Diaries. I'm your host, Mitchell Ruland. This is a podcast show for the average Joe. We find out how struggle in everyday life for everyday people is part of something beautiful that connects to our humanity. Please follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Overcast, Radio Public, and Google Podcast, and a host of other platforms that do podcasts that we are on. Also, if you'd like to see the video version of this show, then tune into YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, share, and let people, know, like, spread the gospel of what we're trying to do here. We're trying to inspire people through people.
Get the bell on, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. I have a very awesome guest today, somebody who's doing exactly what me and Matt are doing in a different format, in a different place, but nonetheless, Mr. Don, and I forgot what your last name was, man.
Everybody messes it up. It's okay. The last name is Dejoung, but everybody just calls me Don.
So. Don Dejoung.
Yes.
That must kind of like rhymes together, right?
Everybody used to say, "Oh, that'd be a great show name. You should be in movies and stuff." I'm like, yeah, but I don't have that face. So
yeah, you got the voice for voiceover, though, man. That's and you do that stuff too, right? You do voiceovers.
Yeah, I do voiceovers.
Tell me about that.
I've done several voiceovers now. We do local stuff there in Cullman. That's where I'm from, and it's just something that I love doing. It's also a lot of work. Repetitiveness over and over and over again.
What is like doing take me through like a job that you would do for a voiceover, like just one in particular? Like what does it look like? What does that all entail?
Somebody contacts my producer and says we would like to make a commercial, and then my producer will say, okay, would you like a voiceover? And then my producer says, well, we need you to do a voiceover. Okay. That's what a lot of it boils down to. But, other people have said, well, man, you do great voiceovers. Da, da, da. And then so what we do is I sit down at just a random table, and there's no soundproofing or anything. I just get really close to the mic, and he turns me up a little bit, and we do a voiceover.
You do, like you're reading off of a script?
Yeah. What I do is I do bit reads, where I'll just read a little bit, and read it about 6 different ways that way. And then he does his little magic in the background and makes it all come together, and it comes together great.
Yeah, I took a class on acting in Orlando once, and they were talking about the different ways to like perform a scene or a monologue or whatever, to where it's like if you had to say, it's like, this is my suitcase would be like the statement, and then you say it differently. Like, this is my suitcase. This is my suitcase. This is my suitcase. And I was like, this is so interesting. I like the dynamic here of all the different.
And what's great about that is the way we split it. The way we split it up is it's just we read a sentence, and we'll put in a little inflection up or down, or he'll tell me how he kind of wants it to feel. Then I just kind of go from there.
What's your favorite one that you've done so far?
So yeah, Johnny's is probably by far my favorite. It's Bulldog Slapping Good, and it is, that's an old saying that they used to have a long time ago. And basically they said, well, we're going to put that on our logo. Such and such said it was Bulldog Slapping Good. And that's basically what happened.
That's so fun. I feel like there'd be a really great commercial where I'm eating a barbecue sandwich from there, and there's a bulldog over, and he's looking at me and I just slap the piss out of him.
Well,
like, my sandwich.
They have a bulldog on the back of their shirts and all that.
Get destroyed by the dog.
But yeah, I just went in there and I was like, it's Bulldog Slapping Good. And, that was it. And they were good, just like, that's what we want to hear. And he was ecstatic.
That's so cool, dude. You got to get me hooked up with this, man. People have always been telling me for years that I have like a voice for like this kind of stuff. So yeah, I just don't even know. I don't know how to go about that. I guess I don't have the right connections for it yet or whatever.
Well, it's opportunities. You just keep plugging away at it. Really and truly, you keep plugging away, and you fill your portfolio, and you just keep on adding. And then before you know it, you got people calling you left and right.
Yeah, I was trying to work on a portfolio once upon a time. I have a cousin who is a photographer. I was going to try to get some headshots done and stuff, and it just didn't work out very well. But at some point, I was wanting to try to like update that and have a portfolio and kind of write out like a do you do like a resume? Like, how does a portfolio work exactly?
Well,
Besides the headshots, I honestly don't know.
I would say, like, yeah, you want a headshot for, like audio work, but really and truly you want those clips. You want those like little 5-second clips, and you want to do like, 10 of them and of your best work. That way people can listen to what it is. Like if you got a 60-second commercial that you're just super proud of, the best part of that clip, that's what you want.
I want to do something very obscure and odd and do like I don't know, like like anal itch cream or something.
Well, I mean,
ladies and gentlemen, this anal itch cream will help heal and soothe.
Yeah, and see, and it'll relax you. Just apply liberally to the area that's affected. No, anyway,
may cause brain tumors and nosebleeds.
Yeah,
have like
but yeah, I mean, that whole thing is a lot of fun. But what I really enjoy the most is my show that I have, which
Tell
is
us about that.
Don Talk. We started Don Talk. Oh, it's been going on 2 years now. It started out as my producer. He said, "Man, I really dig what you do. You sound great. You're real talkative, that kind of thing." He said, "I'd really like for you to come do a show." And at that time, he had
real quick. So your producer guy, he was already doing stuff of this nature, like filming things or working in news or something like that?
He actually had a Facebook page called Alabama Sweet TV. And it was short-lived. Him and another guy had started it. And they had really needed shows. And they had gotten a local lady there who, her name is Debbie Wood. And Debbie had been on the Cullman scene for a long time. She had done and still does a lot of different things, video-wise. But she had kind of decided she was going to step down. And so they were really needing somebody to kind of fill that spot. And I said, well, I'm busy now with my business that I have, but, maybe one day a week. And so he said, well, how about Fridays? And, so on. We went on and on about it. And finally I said, well, 10 o'clock on Fridays. I can do the 10 o'clock on Fridays. I got an hour. And he said, okay, let's do it. And so sat down and we created a show. The funny thing was I came up with the name Don Talk. It wasn't like it was really
I never would have guessed it, man.
Who would have thought of that name? We kicked a bunch of names around, and I said, well, how about Don Talk? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, no, that's too cheesy, too self-centered. And he goes, oh no, let's sit on it, let's simmer. I was like, no, let's not simmer.
Wait, what were some of the other names, if you remember? That you kicked around?
Alabama Talk, Cullman Talk, just
pretty generic
stuff. And we settled on Don Talk because it was short and it was simple and it was to the point. It's a talk show.
I gotta tell a story real quick. Sorry for interrupting you, but like our mutual friend Dean, when he was originally telling me about you, and I didn't know who you were, what you were about, and he just sent me this Don Talk thing. I thought it was some podcast or radio show about Don Knotts, Barney Fife, and I was like,
"Good old Don."
This is interesting. I don't know why I instantly thought of that. Well, he said you were from Cullman, and I was like, oh well. Obviously, it's a show about Don Knotts. I can't wait to partake in this.
No Mayberry, other than what people think of Cullman sometimes. Cullman kind of gets that rap as Mayberry, but
it's not so bad. Cullman's all right place.
It's a good place. I like Cullman. I've lived there long enough. I better like it.
No, yeah. You gotta be careful, man. They're watching you right now.
Yeah, that's right. They're watching.
They're hanging on every word you're saying.
But yeah, no. When we started the show, we had thought about several different things. What do we want to make it? We want to make it like Howard Stern. Then we kind of started out that way, and then it evolved to something else. And now it is in its kind of newish form, as Don Talk as it is now. I have a co-host. Not every time, but for the most time, it's hard to get somebody to come for free.
I can't imagine why.
That.
But I have an assistant that works for free. Where's my seltzer water? Get over here. I need a spritz.
But yeah, I mean, it's great because we get to sit down and talk with some of. I've got the Secretary of State coming on in a couple of weeks. I've had the mayor and the sheriff on a bunch of times. Some kind of controversial people in around the Cullman area. But it keeps getting bigger and bigger, and it's a little scary. I mean, it's a little bit scary because it keeps getting bigger, and it keeps stepping up, and it's only a 15-minute show.
It's funny that you're saying that too about the scary thing. The other day I was thinking about like what me and Matt do here, right? And obviously we're growing. We're in our very infantile stage right now. We might not even be born or birthed yet from what we're doing creatively. But I was thinking about like the concept of how this has the potential to really go somewhere. And I have a lot of professional friends that are like, man, this is pretty good. This is what they're saying, not me. It's not my own ego speaking about it. And then I've actually sat back and, hypothetically thought about, what comes with it, like the being in the spotlight and the fame, not like celebrity fame, but the fame of it, the following and the people looking up to me as like a figure of some sort. And like I got anxiety about it. Like I lost my breath just thinking about a hypothetical situation. And so I kind of know what you mean by that. Like it's a lot of people, they don't realize like when you're trying to get into like a position like that, it comes with a heavy price. You know what I mean? Like when people think about like movie stars and they get all pissy when they're pissed off because like paparazzi are like taking pictures of them, or somebody with a cell phone wants to, and they're like being kind of ill-tempered.
They just want to have that cup of coffee without being
they
bothered.
just want to be chill. But like, there's such a heavy burden that comes with it. I know.
In Cullman, I don't really have that problem. I mean, I have fans, which is weird.
Can I have an autograph?
Yeah. Well, like I'm always joking around, hey, hold on to that autograph. It'll be famous someday.
Maybe.
I mean, hey, who knows? But, I'm always like, it amazes me when I go out in town. And, Cullman's a bigger town in Alabama, but it's not that big. When you're in a town of about 16, 17,000 or whatever it is now, when somebody comes up to you and says, hey, Don Talk, or hey, Don, and you're just like, hi, strange person that I don't know who you are. It's really great to meet you. I'm glad you're a fan, and then they want to talk for a few minutes. And so it happened. It was like the other day I had somebody that came in, I was at the grocery store and I met somebody at the grocery store. I was wearing my mask and they're like, hey, Don. And I look around the corner. It was somebody I went to school with, but he wanted to talk about the show and what I could do to help him with a certain issue. And I said, man, I just don't know if I can help you with that, because it was a real like kind of a
personal thing.
Yeah, I'm just like, he's like, well, do you think you could get it on the show? I'm like, it's not really that kind of show.
It wasn't anal itch, was it?
No. I mean, he got in some legal trouble, and I'm just like, whoa, we don't talk about, the L word's bad. No. But it throws you off when it happened, because the first time it ever happened, we had just got done shooting the fair parade. And we announced it. We did the whole fair parade. And in Cullman, the fair parade's a huge thing. I don't know if y'all have ever been. Y'all should come. We have it coming up here October. Y'all should check it out.
Oh, yeah. I think you had the Oktoberfest guy on there that was like dressed up like a fiddler, yodeler guy.
He was dressed in his
I don't know what that's
leotard. Or not his leotard. I forget what they call it now.
When is that? I'm totally...
Oktoberfest is the 3rd of this month. No, next month. Or October 3rd, whatever.
Dude, I'll totally come to that. It sounds like
it is a good time, and you should.
You want to go to that? Y'all want to go, Matt? You want to go to this festival? We should totally. Like, I was watching part of a show about it. It sounds really fun.
It is, and they put on a really good show too. So, but yeah, he was super excited to be on. He's like 4th generation, permanent stuff. So everybody gets a kick out of that. But we had just got done doing the fair parade. And I'm taking the camera down from our little stand that we had, and I hear, hey, Don Talk. And it kind of threw me off. I was like, huh? And I looked around, and it was this lady and her kids, and she was waving just like to beat the band. And I was just like, wow. It kind of threw you back. And I've never met this person in my entire life. So
yeah, it's really surreal, I guess. I see. I don't like me. I don't like when and if that happens. I'm going to say when that happens for me. Like I'll sit there and talk. If I'm cool with time, I'll sit there and talk to anybody about anything all day long. Like I guess for me, it's just like the emotional pressure of it all, right? Like I had just recently, I had this kid messaged me on Facebook about like there's this person on the show that he really admired, and he watched the episode, and he was like telling me how it was inspiring him. He's just like this young teenage kid. I went and like Facebook stalked him, but and he was just talking about how it was inspirational, and like he deals with a lot of stuff in school, and how like my show really helped him like through some like dark times. And I was like, wow, like that's, I don't, am I ready to like have like, because I'm just having fun, right? I'm not trying to like, for anybody out there like listening, like I'm not a professional at anything. I'm just an average dude. That's why it's called the podcast show for the average Joe, because I'm just an average Joe, and I'm talking to people from like regular society about things. And so if somebody looks up to me, it's, it's kind of a really tall order, right? Like that whole great power, great responsibility thing. And sometimes I always worry about, I don't want to steer someone in the wrong direction, and I feel like the pressures of that from being in a high status or being in this like position of spotlight is, it's heavy. It's emotionally, psychologically heavy.
It really is. I get that because, I have kind of the same thing with my show. It's, we have the responsibility as, kind of ambassadors for Cullman to make sure that we represent Cullman as best we can, and represent myself and the station as best we can, because, I cuss like a sailor. Let's just be honest. Sorry to break that to y'all folks, but I cuss like a sailor sometimes.
No.
Especially when I'm driving down the road. Let me tell you what, I drive down the road, it is like rated X. Don't listen. But no. But when I'm on stuff like this, I click over and it's like flipping a switch for me. Like I might let a cuss word slip.
Dude, just so you know, you can cuss as much as you want, dude. Matt will bleep it out anyways to keep it family friendly, but I want people to be themselves. Like I don't want people to put on a face, and like I want you to talk how you want to talk.
Well, anytime these are on, I just flip that switch. It's just that switch that I go into that mode, and it's not something I can turn off or on really. But I turn it on, but I leave it on.
I was just thinking about you having like senators and stuff on your show. I imagine if I had a senator on here, I was talking about anal itch cream.
Yeah. There you go. See, that's the perfect example.
They would probably get up and like storm out of here.
The Secretary of State's like, so I heard you did this itch cream commercial. I'm like,
He stormed out 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
10 minutes in on the show, he storms
I had
out.
some important questions I was going to ask you, but
I can't be famous. I'll be infamous.
That's right. Exactly. And that's a good point too, and what I do is like you have there's that line. You can be great, good, and wonderful, or you can be bad. And there's those two extremes. You really don't get to ride that line very close.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like you're in a good position, man. You seem like a very mature person. You seem like you got a good head on your shoulders.
I would hope so. I'm fairly old. I'm pretty old anyway.
I feel like people follow you. It's not a bad thing.
No, yeah. And I try and make it, like I said, I try and make the shows as good as possible. But in like what you're doing here, with kind of the mentoring, getting people to talk about their issues, we all have them. And something like this is great for that, because it lets other people know, hey, you're not just the only one with this kind of problem. And in today's society, the mental state of our society is in the can.
It's a little
right now.
Yeah, it's a little fractured.
Yeah. And it seems like every time I hear a news story about kid getting shot or the Black Lives Matter stuff or whatever, it just, nothing against Black Lives Matter. I'm just making a point that it's always negative, and there's very little positive. And that's kind of why I like my show to be as positive as possible, because I don't want people to sit there and say, well, it's just a negative show that talks about negative things. I want to talk about things that make people happy and interested and get people excited to be in Cullman. Not only that, but be excited to watch my show. It's not just a Cullman show. It's a show to help people feel happy at least for 15 minutes out of the day. And we're kind of that, like I said, we're those ambassadors of that. But we have to kind of think about it in those terms.
Yeah, that's really good. It's media is going towards like podcasting and audio and broadcasting like that, where people are getting like a big bulk of their information from the world from that stuff. Because I think people are just starting to catch on, like that the main media and the news is just, there's just so much like pardon my French, there's so much going on.
Where can they steer the story?
Yeah, it's just like people. Yeah, people, we're so divided, right? Like there needs to be like this connection. Like there's not, people are always on a team. You have to be on a team, right? You're either Pepsi or Cola, you're Alabama or Auburn, or you're Tommy Hilfiger or you're Ralph Lauren, or you're Democrat or you're Republican. And there's no like middle ground to where people can be like, yeah, whatever. But we're also all just human beings trying to figure out this life and do good and be happy and live in peace and harmony. Like, where's that talk at? Where's the people to just be, you know?
It's on programs like the Wrestling Diaries. I mean, there you go.
Boom! What a promotion. Plug in.
But no. But you're right. Seriously. I mean, that's where the big media companies are missing the mark. You know, they really are, in my opinion. And the way of the world is now, you know, the dirtier, the more slanderous, the more back talk, and the more, you know, out of, you know, the other side of your face kind of talk. That's what's getting the views, but not the sit down. Let's take a minute. Let's kick back and talk about what the real problem is. Let's talk about what our issues personally are. We see a lot of stuff that is just nonstop. Here on like podcasts and on my show, you can sit down and have an actual conversation with somebody. I'm not yelling at you. Not going to happen. I'm not going to raise my voice to the rafters to make sure that my word is heard.
Which if you did, man, with that deep, bassy voice of yours, I'd be so terrified.
I would blow everybody's ears off, probably. Like if you're listening to this with headphones, you know, you'd have to take them out. But yeah.
No, yeah, I get what you mean.
And that's what makes this great, because I mean it's really the goal. Like I was listening to NPR coming up here. I'm a sucker for NPR. Okay, I really love like you know, fresh air. I don't know why, but you know, it's fresh air. It's what it is. It's good. But they were talking about the golden age of podcast, and this is the golden age of podcast. You know, it's the new radio. It really is. It is the new form of media that's going to take us into, you know, 100 years from now.
Yeah, I would even go even a little further and say it's the new news.
Well, it is. I mean,
so many people go to like shows of like people that have no political backgrounds whatsoever to get real news and real stories about what's going on in the world, like from a real perspective that's not scripted under all like fake lighting and scripts and all this other stuff. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of where it's going to. The new radio, the new news, and yeah, I feel like it's like inevitable. I don't think it's like I'm like, oh, it might happen. I think this is where it's going. There's a reason why somebody like Spotify, a company, paid someone like Joe Rogan $100 million to come to their platform.
And Joe Rogan has, I mean, I watched the first Joe Rogan podcast, and it was, I wouldn't say it's horrible, but it was the most janky looking thing you ever seen. Like they were at a coffee table. There was 3 of them. I think they had 1 mic, maybe 2.
The video is very grainy.
Like the mics are like 5 miles away from their faces, and they're just like, "Yeah, we're on podcast, Joe Rogan
drinking Coronas."
And I'm just like, "What in the world is this?" But then, you know, 3 years later, hey,
yeah, it's blowing up. Yeah.
It is the new norm. Is what it is. And I mean, do I blame Joe Rogan for going to Spotify and making all that money? Nope. I don't blame him one bit, because if he can do it, anybody can do it.
I feel like all it's going to do is help. Yeah, America. All it's going to do is help us out, right?
Yeah, that's right.
We like, that's one of our main hosts, Spotify, for our audio podcast. They're doing video now on Spotify now. That's a new platform that coming. Matt, have you seen that? Have you watched? You got to check out the JRE. Like, I don't know if there's any other ones yet, but video's coming along with the audio now. It's incredible.
Well, my whole thing is like, keep it pure. That's me. You know, like I'm old fashioned like that. Like Spotify, radio, podcasts, audio. Don't mess it up with the video. I mean, you got a really good thing.
Oh yeah, you don't like the
leave
video
it
concept.
there for a while. I mean, I like the video. Don't get me wrong. I'm on video all the time, but like the worst thing that ever happened to me was I was listening to a radio DJ here in Birmingham, and I saw his face, and it ruined it for me. Like after that, it was over. The mind's eye on like I don't.
Are you trying
disagree.
to say he wasn't a good-looking gentleman?
They do say you got a face for radio, but no, seriously. I mean, it just ruined the whole aesthetic for me.
I think I get what you're saying. Yeah,
I mean, I still listen to him. Don't get me wrong, but I never listened to him with the same enthusiasm.
Because the concept of what you're talking about is similar, akin to like when I'm reading a book, right? And then they turn it into a movie, and then everything that I visualize, I imagine in my head from reading this literature, and then I'm seeing it, and then it doesn't live up to my expectations that I had in my mind, and it kind of ruins it a little bit. Now, I have seen movies that were excellent adaptations of what I read, and then I've also I almost feel like it almost leans more to the not though, and so I feel like that's kind of the similar to what you're saying about like that.
Well, and Joe Rogan's a great example of this, is where he was already a film star, video
he was
star,
in the entertainment
TV
industry.
star. So he was already there. So for him to come over and still do the video is okay because I've already seen his face. I know what his face looks like. But if you have like a really great voice and something like that, and then you plop the video on it 6 years down the road, then that's just like like now y'all are doing it great because y'all are on YouTube and all that, and so anybody can look anytime. But you pop it on somebody 6 years down the road like that DJ did to me, and then you're just like, oh man, I can't do it anymore.
Have you ever seen Wayne's World 2? You remember Handsome Dan?
Handsome Dan.
And it's that really good-looking actor guy, and they're like,
exactly
hey,
right.
Handsome Dan. And then he's like, I'm not Handsome Dan. And then this other like gangly, like short, small, not attractive guy in comparison to the other guy comes out. He's like, hi, I'm Handsome Dan. And they're like, hi, Handsome Dan. And then the other guy was like Mr. Scream or whatever. Yeah. And I was like, it's kind of like that.
But
right?
here's the funny thing. Mr. Scream was like, in the movie, he's just like rolling through some papers, and I'm like, what's Mr. Scream really reading? I mean, what's he really reading there? Is he reading, it's like, no. But yeah, I mean, to get kind of back on track, we were talking earlier about some stuff that people have, issues with. And, I've fallen in that category myself. I'm not all just happy days and rainbows and sunshine here.
You're human.
Yeah, everybody is. And so, I've had those days myself. I went through a real dark period.
Deviating off of that just a little bit, one thing I'm going to say is like for anybody that's either listening to this or even watching it, I don't know if you can tell, but Don is a really big guy.
Yeah.
6'6". He's like an Asgardian, Matt. We need to get him some armor, and we need to find somebody else to dress up like Thor.
Well, everybody's like, man, you got such a great voice. And here's what kills me. When people see me in real life, they're like, wow, you're so tall. I'm like, yeah, because I'm sitting behind a counter and nobody can really see how tall I am, but when I stand up and so that's like the biggest comment that I usually get, that or, wow, your voice is really good for TV, because I don't really talk a lot outside of the show, because I just don't, I like to save it all up for the show or whatever. But other than that, I get the, wow, you're a lot taller than you look. And so I get a lot of that.
Well, I made the joke earlier that I felt like even with you sitting down, that you're still taller than me. And like, I'm not a short guy by any means, but yeah. And then, you were supposed to tell the story. What's the story about the chair? Too tall, too short? You got to tell the story real quick. We were talking about that earlier before the
So I had a guest come on. Most of my guests have been fairly tall people. And so we don't really have a chair issue. Well, this one gentleman comes in and he was very short, and he was looking for stuff to put in the chair that was next to me, because he was like here on me, like below my shoulder. And I'm just like, well, we could put something under his chair, maybe raise him up, because it was a little bit of an issue, because like the cameras couldn't really see him too well. They could see like from his shoulders up.
Do you know how short he was?
He's probably like 5'2", 5'3", somewhere in there. You know, he not even close. I mean, not average. And so, you know, I was just like, well, we don't really have anything we can put on it. So he found some couch cushions from the green room and threw them on the chair, and he sat on those, and he looked so incredibly uncomfortable. And so I told my producer, I said, we got to do something about this, because we can't have our guests, you know, in the floor and me. And I mean, I'm sitting on a chair that's short. Like, I sit on a chair that's probably 3 inches shorter than everybody else, just so it kind of evens us out. And so I'm just like, we got to do something about this. So we go down to like Harbor Freight or one of those cheap places, and we found like one of these chairs similar to this one, but it's a garage chair, you know, like the garage chairs, and it goes up and down. And so now I'm the shortest usually, because everybody's like, well, I'm going to get a little taller, because, you know, I don't like this guy that much, you know, I don't want to be shorter than him. So they'll raise the chair up, and it doesn't bother me, because at the end of the day, I'm still taller, unfortunately. Everybody's like, why do you always say unfortunately? I'm like, well, have you tried to find shoes and pants and clothes that fit? Just saying. It can be a hassle.
I shouldn't be laughing at like the vertically challenged. It's not, you know, I know how a lot of some of these shorter guys they get that just, there's this complex about it. There really is. I'm probably going to have so many like short guys trying to fight me after this. You don't have to worry about it because you're super huge and I'm going to mess with you. Yeah. After this, I'm just going to have like a legion of just dwarves like coming after me.
We're going to get you.
They're going to be attacking me. It's going to be like an episode of Family Guy. I'm just going to be attacked. Yeah. Like, Matt, I'm calling Matt. Matt, I'm getting beat up by dwarves out here. I need your help.
I'm just going to be like,
Matt, are you going to come to my rescue when I'm calling you about that?
Nah, if it's underpants gnomes, you're on your own.
Underpants gnomes. Oh my gosh, dude!
Old Lollipop Guild comes up here and starts beating you.
Oh my gosh, be rough. Super freaking hilarious.
But no, I mean, I get a lot of that. You know, growing up, I always got a lot of that too. So, you know, for me, sometimes it's hard to tell whether they're actually staring at me because I have the television show or because I'm that tall. Sometimes I think it's both.
Yeah. Well, I mean, why not both? You know. The extra draw to you, people drawn into.
I mean, I've been stared at most of my life anyway because of my height. So,
and then you got this.
Naturally goes
you
together.
got this red tie on that makes you stand out like a sore thumb.
I tell you, my
Frank Miller would be very proud of you. He wrote.
I call it my power tie, just like, you know, what's his name? You know, Superman's. What's his name? He calls it that all the time. Superman's villain. Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor.
I don't know why I can think of Lex Luthor, but he always says he's wearing his power tie. I'm always wearing my Lex Luthor power tie.
There's some like cartoon of like a super dog or something that wears like a tie and a cape. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? I don't know what that is. Like, I feel like I'm visualizing it right now, but it's like some super
it's like
dog
some old stuff.
Yeah,
like
maybe.
Some Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Yeah, and he like wears a red tie, but he also has a cape. I don't know. I'll look it up later. Does that not sound familiar? Matt's looking at me like. Oh yeah, it's Underdog. That's it. Underdog, right?
I'm kind of
no. When I saw it, I thought of Sin City because Frank Miller does like the panels where everything's in black and white, but he accentuates like the reds.
Yeah,
they did the movies like that too.
But no, my producer he said, well, we really need to do something that kind of spices up the show in your wardrobe, because I was just wearing like a golf shirt. And so I said, well, let me look. And so I had some ties and stuff like that. And I wore a tie one day, and he goes, that's it. That's your look. And so my look is rolled up sleeves or short sleeves with a tie. So that's kind of the look that I go with.
The signature, man.
Now, if I'm out in the field doing like an interview, it might be a golf shirt, but.
Do you guys have merchandise for Don Talk? Like T-shirts and coffee mugs and stuff like that?
I've really thought about doing merchandise lately.
Yeah, me and Matt have been discussing doing merch,
but
for
I haven't done
days.
it yet because I just haven't seen the draw for it. So, but there might be a Don Talk T-shirt or mug in the work.
Dude, whenever it comes out, let me know. We'll promote it on here.
Oh, fantastic!
Like, because I know that you've got fans here in Birmingham. I checked out your Facebook and I was like, man. This thing has a lot of likes on it.
we do. We get, you know, the show gets more likes than I thought it ever would.
Really?
Just honestly. I thought, you know, going into it that I would just be this guy that doing this show for the fun, and if it works for a year, it works for a year. And here I am going on 2 years, and Secretary of State's going to be there. That just blows my mind. I mean, it blows my mind that I'm going to have somebody that's that high up in government going to show up at my door. It's just crazy. I mean, he's already been on. We did a video call the other day, but he's physically coming to my show.
Yeah, that's how I do. Do you use Zoom?
Yeah, we use a lot of Zoom. We used to during the COVID times.
When me and Matt do either out of state or international guests, because I actually I'm blessed to have a lot of friends from around the world now. But yeah, we'll use Zoom. Like we had a lady on who's Russian, who's living in Florida. She was on. She's like a health advocate, pharmacist lady. But yeah, she was on Zoom. Yeah, Zoom's pretty cool. It's like it's up and coming. It's a pretty nice format. It's not too bad. I think I like it better than Skype. I think it works out better.
It does, and the stock prices are going up.
Of Zoom
yeah,
or Skype?
Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang it! I gotta get in there.
Skype, their prices are going up too, but yeah, just FYI.
Okay,
but yeah, do you do any like financial stuff at all?
So I invest in gold and silver, and I've been thinking, I haven't actually dipped my toes into this yet, but into getting into Robinhood, the digital stock trading stuff. I had a guy on the show. It's actually was it our second episode, Matt? Roger Brown. Shout out Roger Brown. I know he watches all these episodes. He's always wanting me to shout out. Shout out Roger Brown.
Hey, Roger.
Where is it? Dirt Road Outfitters? Is that what he's... Because last time he got him, he's like, oh, you didn't promote my business. Dirt Road Outfitters. He makes T-shirts, hats, decals, blah, blah, blah. Anyways.
For all your activewear needs. Dirt Road.
All your
See, there you go.
needs.
Dirt Road free.
He also makes anal cream. But, just kidding, Roger. But no, he does Robinhood, and he started out investing like I think he said $100 or $200, and now he's got like $5,000 on it, and he plays around with it. He's only been doing it for I don't know, like a year and a half or something like that. So I've been thinking about delving into it. Another friend of mine, I watched the episode, and then he started doing it, and he sent me some links. He was like, "Oh, you got to get in these stocks, man," because he thought I was already doing it, and I've been lazy and haven't even got into it. And I was like, "Oh. Yeah, cool, man. I'll look into it." I don't even but as far as like investment stuff, that's really about it. The gold and silver, I have some of that.
Well, that's always a good thing to have.
Yeah,
that's always.
I'm so glad I have a bulk of it too, because the price of it is like shooting through the roof right now. Like silver has went up.
Now's the time to sell it and then turn around and wait for it to fall and buy more.
And buy, yeah, I think I probably might do that here soon.
I enjoy that kind of stuff too. So. I've got some silver and very little gold, but I got some silver. And
gold is super expensive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
1 ounce is ridiculous. Like $2,000.
Yeah, I remember when it was almost $3,000 an ounce several years back.
I also remember when it was just like, I think I remember somebody talking about it. It was like $500, $600 for like an ounce of gold or something, maybe. Or maybe it wasn't silver. I think it was gold. I remember thinking... They were like, "Oh, you got to get some." I was like, "Oh, I would never buy $600. That's insane." And now it's like, $3,000, $2,000. Yeah, that's insane stuff. But yeah, I want to get into that stuff more, man. Try to expand my repertoire for making money. Matt too. Matt needs to get into it to make some cash. That's why we're doing this, man. We're not trying to inspire people.
Help nobody.
I don't want to inspire people. I don't care what you. I gotta make some money, y'all. Y'all send me some money.
No, but seriously though, I mean, what y'all are doing here is great. I mean, the money thing be damned. There's your cuss word for the show right there.
Yeah, he's not gonna bleep that one.
Yeah, don't bleep it. Don't bleep it.
You have to say something like or something.
No.
He just rolled his eyes because he has to make another bleep. I'm going to do one episode where I just cuss for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, there you go.
A full...
It was the best show we ever had.
I know. Highest rated. They wanted an encore.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I have to talk about the show is like, it's not really censored. Like the subject matter is not too censored, but there are times when I've had a few people cuss on the show. And, we kind of have to we can't really bleep it because it's live. On Facebook, live on Facebook, live on the station. But then again, after it's over, we'll sit there and bleep it out for later episodes. But the problem is, did they really say that? Like when you hear them say it, there was a candidate that come on the show the other day, and he cussed on the show. In fact, it was the mayor. It was
What
the
word
mayor
did he say?
of Cullman.
What word is it? You don't have to say it. But which word was it?
I can't remember what he said.
Did you drop a F-bomb?
I want to say it was the B word.
B word?
I believe it was the B word. And I was just like, whoa. Like, in real time, in my mind, I'm like, did that just come out of his mouth? And I'm like, this is Cullman television. This isn't L.A. We're not on the West Coast here. This is Cullman. And I'm like, you know what? Hell with it. He's the mayor. He can do whatever he wants.
That's true.
But
right?
no, I mean, seriously, though, when you think about it, though, it's an older crowd there, for the most part in Cullman, or it's families. So we try and keep it as clean as possible.
I got you. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. We bleep stuff out of here because it's like, for families watching. And really, I almost feel like it's more of like a comedic thing. Some of our other friends are like, it's so funny that you guys like bleep stuff out. Nobody bleeps stuff out on their podcast. Well, we do.
Well, you want everybody to be able to hear it too.
Yeah. Well, because, like I said, I had a kid message me, right? And so I don't know if there's a bunch of like F-bombs being dropped, and, his parents would be like, oh, what are you watching? You can't watch this. This is terrible. So, Now we're getting to the point of the show, my friend, Don Talk. Bro.
What's up?
What are you wrestling with right now, man?
What do I wrestle with? Oh.
What are the demons that are chasing you? Monsters that are biting at your ankles under the bed in the closet.
Oh, man. There's so many. Which ones do you want to start? No, just kidding.
I mean, that's up to you.
I mean,
man.
I don't have a huge amount of demons. No, my biggest demon can be just finding the will to do things during the day. Just like getting up and doing my schedule. But when I get home, continuing that schedule.
You mean you think you struggle with discipline? You mean?
Yeah, man, totally. Every time I sit down to do something, I get distracted. Like, oh, there's something over there I got to do, or oh, I need to be doing this, or oh, I forgot to do this, and it's just never sit down and do one project and finish that project. It's finish 5 seconds of that project, go do 5 minutes of this project. I'll spend an hour and a half on this project, and then come back and be like, oh, I got to do this project.
Yeah, I feel like I struggle with that too.
I mean that's kind of a lame demon to have, but it's one of the worst.
It's that demon specifically has caused issues with so many people in their lives about not getting stuff done, right? And then that leads to you're not getting stuff done, so you feel unfulfilled, you're unproductive, so then that depresses you, gives you anxiety, and then it's like a domino effect, man. It starts.
It does.
Leg bones
really
connected
does.
to the,
It does.
Trickles up.
And, before you know it, you're like, well, I'll just sleep in today. I didn't get anything done anyway.
Yeah. It's like, well, I didn't do anything anyway, so I might as well just keep
be a bigger
going.
Piece of crap.
Yeah. It keeps spiraling down. Yeah. Like laziness is just a huge poison. Like laziness, procrastination, and I feel like it's just a lack of discipline. And I'm not just speaking like for you, what you're saying, but just anybody, myself personally. It's really hard to get like discipline. It just, I don't know. It's just something that you really have to like work on, I guess, and you challenge yourself.
Well, I found that when I make notes, like I'll make a list of what I need to do that day, and I'll mark it off, and that really helps me a lot.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty good.
Writing down a physical list with a piece of paper and then just like, hey, I'm going to mark that off. I got that done. I didn't get this done, but I can get that done early in the morning. And that really helps me from procrastinating or, saying, well, I just didn't get anything done. But then I can look back and say, oh, well, I did do this and I did this and I did this. I did get something done.
I've thought about doing kind of what you're talking about. I mean, I already kind of write stuff down a lot because, when you write things down, it anchors it into existence. So you have to be accountable for it. But I've been thinking about doing like old school, so like from like kindergarten, grade school stuff to where I have like this charter and it's like, oh, I've got to do this and make this call and talk to this person and do this work and clean this and blah, 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 blah. And then when I do it, I get a sticker. I get a star, gold star. If I complete it for the whole week in consistency, I get the big gold star. Boom.
And
I've been seriously thinking about doing it.
Gift card to Subway. No, I'm just kidding.
And then like I can reward myself. I'm like, okay, I did all this. So now I can buy a new pair of shoes, or now I can eat that chili cheese pizza, or like whatever it is, right? And so I feel like it's really good. Like it sounds silly and people listening to it might think it's funny, and it is funny, but it's weird. It's like hacking your psychology, because like when you're a kid, it's like with dogs, right? They do a trick and you give them a treat. And we're humans the same exact way. If you know there's something into it, that's why it's so hard for people to start their own businesses and be entrepreneurs and stuff, because they're doing it for free. They're not getting anything yet. And so it's so hard to do something where you're not garnering money, but you can go to like a regular 9-to-5 job and go work at Walmart or Target or whatever, and you know you're going to get that paycheck. So it's easier for you because you know there's a guaranteed reward for you, right? Versus the other one, you just don't know. It's like you're out in the woods, you're searching for vegetables. If you find something you get to eat, if you don't, you're just going to go hungry. And so...
Well, it's just like my show, 2 years down the road, I wouldn't have thought it would be near as big as it is. And it's like, you just got to put in the work. Like anything in life, it's work. You put the work into this, or put the work into a house that you're building, put the work into a car that you're excited about, whatever. You don't do it, never going to get done.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah, it's not so much that old adage that's saying, what is it? Knowledge is power. I partially agree and partially disagree with that. I feel like the execution of knowledge is the true power, right? Because you could have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't apply it, you don't do anything with it, then nothing's going to happen, right? Like if you know how to build a car and you have all the ingredients for it in your garage, all the machinery, all that stuff, and you can build it. You literally know how, everybody knows you know how, but if you don't go out there and build it, you're not going to go anywhere. So it doesn't matter if you know how to build the car. If you don't build the car, then you're not going to go anywhere, and I feel like that's a really strong metaphor that people should use for life, and they should think about that. So with your struggles of like discipline and getting things done, with like writing stuff down, do you think that's a really good remedy for what you do? Or
for me, it is. Even if I just put it down in my calendar in my phone, it's still physically somewhere where I can look and say, well, I need to do this on this date and this time. It's like you say, it grounds you to the fact that, hey, you've got to do that.
Yeah, it makes you accountable.
When I look at my list, I look at it and I go, I didn't get that done. I got to do that. That's something I got to do. And that has to get done today. It makes it feel tangible, makes it feel real. If you just think about things like that, then you're never going to get it done, in my opinion. For me, I would never get it done if I was just like, oh, I'm going to go to the Wrestling Diaries on Saturday. But I wrote it down.
I feel like that's a really great strategy, man. I know it's your personal thing, but I feel like a lot of people can benefit from doing it. I do it. And so I think a lot of people should do that if that's something you struggle with.
I'm single-handedly totally invested in Mead notebooks. No, just kidding. I'm trying to get everybody's no. But that's what, no, seriously though, I get I get a big yellow legal pad and write my stuff down. But that's my thing. You could have like a little tiny notepad or book if you want. I don't know, whatever. But physically with your hands, not your thumbs, physically writing it down really makes a difference, in my opinion.
Or then, at some point when you can afford it, you just hire an assistant.
Or that.
Yeah, or if you don't, and you just have one that works for you for free. Where is my seltzer water, Dean? Damn it.
Yeah, Dean, come on.
Jeez, this guy's the worst free working assistant I've ever had. He's the first one, but still.
It's hard to get PAs to do whatever you want them to do when they're not paid, right? Non-paid PA. I've been there, done that.
Don, what's your goals for the future? Like what you're doing? Like what do you see where do you see yourself in the future? First question. And then secondly, where would you like to see yourself? Do you want to like blow this Don Talk thing up? Is that what you want to do with your life? You want to do something else? You want to retire early? Like
Well, I'm actually working on a podcast now called 500 Miles. It's my own personal little bundle
side
of joy.
project. Nice.
Yeah. Well, I've got like 15. I have a lot of irons in the fire. But I find that I'm not happy unless I'm doing several things at the same time. If I have one thing and I have time to sit at the house and clean house and then I just sit around and watch TV, I'm unhappy. But if I sit there and do many different things, writing that note down, it makes me a lot happier. But right now I got 500 Miles. It's a podcast. It's not out yet. It's what I've been working on. Keep saying I'm going to get it out there, but
can you share the premise of like what it is?
What the premise is it's 500 miles from my home, 500 miles in any direction. And the reason I said 500 miles is an amount of mileage I can travel in a day. So if I can travel there in a day and then stay overnight and then come back, the premise is small towns. what's going on with small towns. I live in a smallish town, small city, whatever you want to call it. And there's a lot of good things that go on in small towns. The history, the people that are involved in keeping the town alive, just the overall feel of the town. Those are things that are really important to me in my life because, my sister lives in a small town. I'm from a small town. You see a lot of things that happen to small towns. They fall in or the population just leaves because of industry that rolls up and leaves. So that's kind of what it's about. It's to help bring light to people that need it. And, it's once again helping more people however I can help them. I know it sounds a little self-centered, but it's to help bring awareness, whatever little awareness I can bring, and to help these communities become better communities. And so I can't help every community, let's face it, but I can go and spotlight some communities and help them become better.
Dude, that's a hell of a mission, man.
It's a big mission. Excuse me. I'm sorry. And that's why it's not quite started yet. I've got a lot in the works right now with it. And, I have, of course, my whole podcast set up already. All I have to do is press record, but the storylines and stuff like that are coming. They kind of come slow because, I have to meet with people and get appointments. So it takes a little bit longer to get a show together, and I have to meet them there. See, I don't want to have a podcast in one local place. I want to take it to them. And I have a little setup that I have that's mobile, and just take it to them and say, hey, let's have a podcast. Let's talk about the town. Let's talk about the great things about your town. Let's talk about the things that are important to y'all as a society or a community. And let's talk about, jobs. Let's try and get some of those here for y'all. Or, maybe we can spread some light on that.
Dude, that sounds fantastic, Don. I implore you to keep going with that. And I want to be there for it, man. I want to be a part of it.
Oh,
I want to help
man,
you. I want to
definitely
help you and check it out. And I think it's great, dude.
Probably it'll be this coming spring. Like I said, I'm gonna have about 10 shows about this spring. So hopefully, knock on wood.
Yeah, and then we got to collaborate too.
Yeah, man.
500 Miles, Wrestling Diaries, or whatever.
Oh yeah, totally.
Or we could be on Don Talk. I don't know if we're a little too edgy, probably for
no,
Cullman TV.
We can get you on Don Talk. I promise.
I'm gonna get on there and talk about anal cream.
Maybe not the anal cream part.
That's like the ongoing gag. I feel like we should have a sponsor for whoever anal cream comes on.
Don Talks anal cream
comes on the screen right now.
Put it on the hole.
But no, man, I'm being a goofball, but yeah, dude, that sounds fantastic, man. Whenever somebody is like coming up with some wonderful piece of art to give back to the world, especially something that is meaningful to them, even if other people think it's insignificant, I love it. I vicariously live through people's exploits of creating their own art, and I love it. And you telling me about this excites me for you. Even if I wasn't a part of it, even if I didn't know you, even if we didn't become pals, I'm 100% in your corner, man.
Oh, man,
if I never saw you again, if you moved to the other side of the country, I still like, dude, hell, just get that man. Like, go do it. It sounds beautiful. It sounds wonderful. So,
and that's my little pet project for me. As far as Dawn Talk goes, at this point, the sky's the limit, I guess. It keeps getting bigger. My producer, Michael, he is a fantastic producer. He has helped me through not only personal things in my life, but through station. Of course, he helps through the station. But, we're good friends. And, it's one of those situations where, hey, I get to go hang out with one of my friends and do a television show. And then just so happens the mayor's coming on. So,
I wish I knew what it would be like to be with one of my best friends creating some wonderful art week to week, day to day.
Yeah.
I wish I just had that feeling. I love how Matt's so impervious to my jokes. He just sits there like an ice queen. He reminds me of like one of my ex-girlfriends. Never laughed at my jokes. She just, just went out with me. Like arm candy.
But yeah. My goal for Don Talk this next year is 5,000 Facebook views. So
I feel like it's,
well-
I mean, it's
well,
inevitable.
here's the thing. There's been some shows I've hit 6,000 already. So, but I don't count those because they're not consistent. So, right now I'm sitting pretty steady at about 2,500. I'm really
Okay.
wanting to hit that 5,000.
I feel like you will, man. I feel like it's ever growing, and it's just it's its own like living, breathing. Like I feel like at a certain point when you create something, then it goes into autopilot at a certain point to where you're not even really having to administer it anymore, right?
Pretty
It just
much.
kinda starts
It's
growing.
starting to get to that point
Yeah,
now.
it's just growing itself.
I get new likes all the time now. So it's like I get 2 or 3 new likes every day.
Well, man, I want you to plug into any of your businesses, your
Oh,
Don
yeah,
Talk,
man.
all this stuff. Let anybody listening, how they can find you, how they can watch your show, how they can listen to it, how they can look you up on social media, and what your other projects coming out. Let everybody know. Plug in.
So, of course, there's Don Talk every Friday at 10 and sometimes on Mondays. Well, most of the time on Mondays now. Don Talk, 10 a.m., Facebook Live. You can go on My Cullman Television or you can go on Don Talk. Either one, we'll have it on there. Also, we're on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and Roku. We also have a Roku station, My Cullman Television. You can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, wherever CDs and radio sold. I'm just kidding. All those fun places. Like I said, and then 500 Miles will be on Spotify, Google Play, Apple, the whole 9 yards. So that'll be coming up in 2021. I put it off because this year is so bad.
Yeah. I can't wait for 2020.
I was just like, you know what, we're gonna wait till 2021 and then we'll publish everything.
Hey, are you going to promote us on Don Talk?
Oh, of course,
You're going
yeah.
to say that you were
Definitely.
on the show?
I'm gonna be like,
I'm gonna
hey,
be
y'all
looking
check out
for
the
it.
Wrestling Diaries. So yeah,
I'm going to send
definitely.
you a text. Dude,
Yeah.
where are we at? Oh, there we are.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Y'all definitely gonna be on there. So
Heck
don't
yeah.
worry.
Don, thanks for being on the show, dude.
No, dude.
Like, this absolutely has to be the beginning to a future, like, I don't know, connection that we have. Like, you be on the show again, I could be on your
Oh,
show.
yeah.
Like,
Totally.
seriously, like, I'm being 100% honest with you. You're a great guy. You're smart. And
thank you.
You're reaching for the stars. And
I
that's
love
stuff
what
that-
y'all are doing here. This is great. I love the whole the bootstraps situation going on here.
Yeah, it's just gritty. We let our hair down. We like to just be ourselves, That's just try to be real. I'm just trying to be real to people.
I love it. I
Man,
think it's
thanks
great.
again.
Thank
Hope you had
so
fun,
much.
man.
Man, I had a great time. Thank you.
Ladies and creatures and gentlemen, another episode of the Wrestling Diaries. We had a really awesome guest on today, Don. Check him out, Don Talk. He's got a great show. He's got an awesome podcast coming up. It's really important that people understand that everybody's wrestling with something different, right? It can be as minute as you think or something super extravagant. But either way, whatever somebody in society is wrestling with, a normal person, right? Not like a super celebrity, but even they wrestle with some of the same demons that we all wrestle with. It's really important to know that you're not in a struggle alone by yourself. Somebody else out there is fighting or struggling with the same things you are. And it's really important. And so hopefully if you listen or you watch the show, you get something out of it. Check us out on YouTube, on Google Podcast and Apple Podcast and Spotify. As usual, share, like, comment, subscribe, follow. Tell your friends about us. And tell me personally or anybody else around, what is it that you are wrestling with? And how can you beat it? One love.